Hey everybody, I'm Jess Logan, and I want to talk to you about Helen Harris Perlman. She was a young social worker during the Great Depression, and she also became a very influential educator in the social work field, developing innovations and new theories in social work practice. So let's get into it. So let's talk about her beginnings. She was born in 1905 in St. Paul, Minnesota, to a Jewish immigrant family. She was the oldest of seven children. She lost three siblings who did not survive to adulthood. Also, her father was a factory manager, and he often took the side and had sympathy for his union workers, his union factory workers, over his employer. And that was an early influence on Helen's values as she was growing up, seeing that behavior from her dad. Um, she attended the University of Minnesota. She graduated with her bachelor's in English in 1926. She originally wanted to be an English professor, but she was told, there are no opportunities for women, especially Jewish women, in academia at that time. So, presented with that, she moved to Chicago to become a copywriter, but didn't find opportunities there. And then instead, she kind of stumbled into this job as a counselor at the Jewish Social Services. She said that she had zero training in that counseling job, but she said she used the way that she developed as a writer to understand people's feelings and actions, and also that the families that she worked with were dealing with a lot of the same problems that people experienced in the great works of literature that she studied in college. So it helped her, initially with her career. So a few months into her job as a counselor at the social services agency, she was offered that copywriter job, but she turned it down. She found her calling, and she spent 18 years as a social worker in Chicago. She worked at family services agencies, schools, a child guidance program, and also a psychiatric hospital. And then in 1943, she received her Master of Social Work from Columbia University in New York. She also lectured part-time there while she was completing her master's. And, she originally wanted to be an English professor, so, she kind of merged the two careers. And then she returned to Chicago to teach at the University of Chicago. From then on, she focused on being an educator. She spent decades teaching, researching, writing books, and contributing to the field of social work. So, why was Helen Harris Perlman important? She helped bridge the gap between theory and practice in social work. So, she's known for developing the Chicago School of Social Work Practice, which emphasized the application of theoretical concepts, basically integrating the application and the theory together. So, at the time, other schools of social work or psychology were heavily focused on either application or theory. So she recognized the importance of both of them and bringing them together and how they work together. She also pioneered the concept of short-term therapy or crisis work. At the time, which is like the 1950s, Sigmund Freud and psychodynamic therapy was a big thing. And while she did see value in that type of therapy, it wasn't applicable to every situation or every person. She also recognized that some situations called for immediate focused assistance and not long drawn out psychoanalysis. So part of that was a concept she called partialization. She developed that, which is basically breaking down someone's complex problems into manageable parts. So basically, how best can we resolve this specific problem right now? And the idea is this focused problem solving approach is then transferable to other areas of their lives. She also was an extremely influential social work educator. In addition to contributing to, social work theories and practice, she published books, she lectured around the world, served on policy committees, she taught future social workers for decades at the University of Chicago. So she was very well known and influential. All right, I wanted to show you all a selection of some of the books that she published. The first one here, this is Social Casework, a problem solving process. This is her most influential book. It was a widely used textbook in social work. It was kind of her bread and butter. This focused on those concepts we talked about previously, the partialization and, focusing on that, single problem at a time kind of thing. This one, Relationship, the Heart of Helping People, which I actually have right here. It's an amazing book. It's basically a letter to all helpers, whether it be social workers or doctors, nurses, mental health technicians, basically anyone in the helping profession. Um, in the book, she explains that the most important factor in helping someone is our relationship with them and its meaning, especially because sometimes there's situations where people may not want help or they're not able to accept the help. And that's where developing a strong, trusting relationship is so important. And this is like kind of a widely taught, concept now, but this book was published in 1979. So she was like way ahead of her time with this philosophy of like how important the therapeutic relationship is between, a helper and the person who needs help. And here are some of her other books that she published. And this last one here is like a poetry and like a memoir type of book, which I thought was cool that she did that as well. Um, but yeah, Helen Harris Perlman, she was amazing. She made some incredible contributions to social work. Um, I'm really glad I was able to find out more about her. Thanks for listening.